And you got the video that "Celebrate," I think is the latest single from it, and that's a great sort of. Tell us a bit about the song. I mean, it's sort of about inclusion and celebrating life.
And man, it's literally that whole song was born out of we live in a world that, whether it be through the internet, through the news, whatever, people want to talk negative and bring others down for whatever reason. And more oftentimes than not, there are little things that we do that we should celebrate. I, for one, speaking as a person who has been open about mental health struggles for a long time, just getting up and getting through the day and getting the things done that you intended to that day sometimes is a huge accomplishment, and there's nothing wrong with patting yourself on the back for that and celebrating that you did it. I mean, we're so quick to point fingers and so shy to celebrate in our times of joy. Sometimes, it's so much easier to go, well, 6 out of 10 things went great for the day, so let's focus on the four that went bad so we can make sure it doesn't happen again. Or you could say 6 things out of 10 went awesome. That is better than, not. So it's the song is really more or less just an eye opener of going, don't be afraid to celebrate things that maybe other people wouldn't, because it's your life, it's your story, it's your celebration. You do your thing.
And is that something you've learned? Like you say, you've been open in talking about mental health, and from my experiences of it and understanding, it's vital to talk about it because people don't talk about it, and the more you talk about it, it is cathartic. Your struggles and your experiences can help others. And is that something you found important to do?
100%. I dude, I've had people thank me. I've had people chastise me for being open about mental health. It's gone both ways, and I don't care, because at the end of the day, if I'm able to talk about that and that relieves some of my own anxieties, and if it gets through to one single person, then it's all worth it, man. I mean, it. There's songs on this EP. Celebrate, Deep is another song. Show Me What You're Made Of. They're all songs that are personal and heartfelt songs.
Watch me sin, who's listening? Been locked inside this prison. Must escape from this place and say goodbye to self-hate. I know you know just how I feel. The same time these wounds will heal. Submission, prescriptions. This isn't what I vision.
I have been a mental health patient since 2011. So for 15 years now, I've been on medications. I've been very open and honest about that. But what I'm just now talking about, doing interviews and stuff, when this kind of subject gets brought up, because I feel it on my heart to mention it. I got in a really, really bad struggling phase last autumn. It was bad. Probably the worst it had been since I had a nervous breakdown in 2011. And I had to go back to my doctors. And my doctor told me about this new thing they do. It's in the States. I don't know if it's in the UK or not, but it's called GeneSight. And basically, they swab the inside of your cheeks for a DNA test. And then they cross reference your DNA with medications to see which ones will actually work for your DNA makeup. And it comes to find out that, like, it'll give you three lists: a good list, a catch all list, and a don't take list. I had like two medicines on the do not take list because they could have adverse affections. And then the majority of medicines were in that catch all list, which is basically like taking ibuprofen or Tylenol, right? For a headache or something. It's kind of like just a bland, it kind of just masks things. It doesn't really help them. And then there was a list of 5 medications that should work with my DNA type. And I started one of those, and we had to increase it. But I can truly say that I'm able to get up in the mornings and go about my day and not hate every bit of it anymore. I've got to the point now where I can, have a conversation with you and enjoy this conversation, talk candidly and stuff.
Mm.
But yeah, man, in the autumn of last year, it got to where I was just staying in bed, not really talking to anybody much. When we were home, I would just kind of stay hidden all the time. Hopefully you guys have something similar to that over there, because it could at least, like, dude, because I tell you what it did for me. When my doctor called me and showed me the results through like a Zoom call,
Mm.
I cried, man, because she was like, your medicine really hasn't been treating you. It's just been masking what's going on.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
she said, this new one will actually treat the things going on. And I cried because I felt like there was a chance of a light at the other side. You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
I'm 40 years old. I don't give a shit. I'll admit all this any day of the week. Mental health is too important to stay quiet about, in my opinion.
Celebrate, you made it through another one today. By the way, you're not the only one who gets afraid. It's okay to freak out or reach out or hit your knees and pray. Celebrate, you made it through another one today.
Man, my mom had mental health issues, that led to addictions, and she's good now. We've started to rebuild a great relationship. But my dad, he was a strong silent type. So you'd watch him suffer through it in silence and going outside and having a cigarette and total silence. And mental health was a lot different. Then that was the 90s, and it's only been recently that more men have become open about talking about mental health, because it was, at least where I grew up around here, it was like, just deal with it and go on, dude.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Celebrate, you made